Well, today is World Religion Day, organised by the Baha'i Faith. Its aim is to recognise the oneness of humankind through the belief that religion must be the cause of unity. Now, clearly not regular viewers of the big questions. So, can all religions be right? Fidelma, hello.
Hi.
Your message, many people think your message is absolutely inspiring. This is the Baha'i religion. You were a Catholic,
yes.
Became a Baha'i from Northern Ireland. I'm sure people still say you're a Protestant Baha'i or a Catholic Baha'i.
I still get that.
Still get a lot of that. But tell us about this greater truth that you have. And go on.
Well, from the Baha'i perspective, yes, the idea of religion as one force is very much fundamental to Baha'i belief. It's the understanding that all religions are like chapters of one book. There is a progressive nature to religion. Religions come at different times, or the founders of different religions come at different times in the world.
Time appropriate and cultural appropriate.
Absolutely, to really bring out the best potential of human beings, to be the best they can be, and to serve the world. So this idea of what Baha'u'llah said, that religions are like...
Who?
Baha'u'llah, who is the founder of the Baha'i faith, over 100 years ago said that religions are like the rays of one sun, and they proceed from the same one source.
All religions?
All religions, all the world's great religions, or the divine teachers, come from one source.
Divine, sort of Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna. Sorry if I've left anyone out, by the way.
Yeah. That's a good list. That's brilliant.
That's kind of what you're saying.
Yes, that all of these divine educators come from the same one source, with the same spiritual messages. What changes are the social teachings down throughout the ages, and they are applied in different ways to accommodate the different and respond to the different needs of humanity that is changing down through the ages.
So many people will love that idea. Susie Lee, you're an evangelical Christian, you're Director of Reform.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thought. You know, many people might not believe it, but for those who do, you go to heaven and there's Buddhists, there's Protestant, there's Catholics, there's Sunni, there's Shia, you name it, they're there, not in different rooms, all together. All together. Is that not a wonderful thought?
It's a wonderful idea, a lovely, lovely thought.
Isn't it beautiful?
But I think it doesn't go to the heart of the differences between the different teachings of all those people, and it really contradicts the very heart of Christianity, and that's one of the problems.
What, the only way to heaven is through Christ?
Jesus himself said, I am the way, the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. But more than that, Christianity, unlike most of the other faiths, doesn't believe that we are fundamentally good people who can get a little bit better and we can try hard.
But can I pursue you on the other point, that you're saying the only way to get into the celestial realm is through Christ,
well, through his death on the cross.
Right.
Because we cannot make ourselves good enough for God.
Buddhists,
we're not improving
Muslims,
ourselves.
Buddhists, they've had it.
Well, I think that the question is whether we have faith that we need Jesus to die for us.
Right.
That's what Jesus...
Right.
Now, we might be wrong, Christians might be wrong, but Christians can't be right and everyone else be right. It just doesn't work.
Well,
so we could be wrong. Christ maybe didn't need to die on the cross. That's quite possible.
Well, okay, you accept you might be wrong.
Yeah, we have faith.
I've got a faith you can join, the Baha'i faith.
I'm convinced that.
You're
I'm
convinced?
by the discussion we've just had.
Reverend Peter Owen-Jones, Sussex vicar, presenter of Around the World in 80 Faiths. You've looked at all this stuff. Now, do you think that all faiths are barking up the same tree, or are they just barking? What do you think? Do you go with the Baha'i or do you go with Susie?
I think all faiths are asking the same questions.
There we are.
And those are important questions, and I feel that as part of the freedom of being a human being, that we need to be free to ask those questions. What it is to love, what it is to seek justice, what it is to experience grace, what it is to experience gratitude. These are very important human questions. This is about human stuff. I think where it starts to unravel and turn ugly is where one faith believes that it has the right to impose that view on others in any way that it seeks. And I learned over time that the religions that I felt comfortable with were ones that were really expressing love in action. Mm-hmm. And those were the religions that were trying to convert me to their perspective at the expense of everything else, that I wasn't to look left, I wasn't to look right, I was to concentrate on that and that alone. At that point, I became very uncomfortable.
So it was those with certainty who said, look...
Yeah, I think certainty can turn
overrated.
Toxic. It can just turn toxic very quickly.
Yeah. Thoughts from the audience? One God? Is it one God? Very quick thoughts, if you would. Gentleman in the stripy shirt. Quick one.
Couldn't the one sun from which those rays are emanating be humanity rather than something other than humanity?
There we are.
And couldn't the narratives that religion put forward that actually ultimately pull people culturally together, but between cultures apart, be the problem rather than the solution?
Too long for me. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm from a group called London Black Atheists, so we don't actually believe in religion at all. That we think religion makes a load of claims for itself, which are absolutely false, and none of them have ever been proven to be true. There's no doubt at all that if you were to follow religions, you would lose your way rather than finding your way. You would find lies instead of truth, and you would probably die instead of being led to life.
Okay. You know, the great teachers, Krishna and Muhammad and Jesus and Dawkins, they're all going to be there. You know, they're all... I love Richie. He's a great guest on the programme we're having as well. I just had a thought, a rare thing, but I did, Fidelma, which is that you're talking about all the great teachers that have been sent. And I thought, and I gave that list of the great teachers through time, but then I thought, what about Joseph Smith, who, for example, from the Mormon religion, who met the angel Moroni thrice and was given gold plates? And would he qualify as somebody who was sent?
No, we wouldn't see
You're
Joseph
drawing the
Smith.
line, aren't you?
But we would say that he's an inspired person.
But he wasn't sent...
But not as a manifestation of God.
Well, how can you tell? How can you tell?
I guess this is where Baha'u'llah just says, investigate truth for yourself. Just go out, look into it with a searching eye, with a scientific approach. And I loved what Peter had said, you know, that the thing that puts people off religion is when the dogma and teachings are being shoved down your throat, whereas what we've been asked to do as mature individuals is search out truth for ourselves.
Indeed, so Baha'u'llah, was he the last prophet? Because it kind of get, you know that hand game, I used to play it with my grandfather, the hand game like that, as to who's the last prophet.
The latest but not the last is how...
The latest.
The latest but not the last in this progressive line. Just like educators in a school.
I'll be with you, Amina, in a second. Kate Smurthwaite, very quickly.
Well, firstly, I just want to take issue with one thing that you say, Fidelma, which is, you know, religion as a progressive force. You know, the fact is there are a handful of occasions, and literally a handful, when religion historically has done something progressive, but there are absolutely overwhelming numbers of examples where religion has been a force against progressiveness, and we live in a world where there's lots of homophobia out there. A lot of it is religiously motivated. There's a lot of negative attitudes towards things like women's reproductive rights, and they have a huge negative effect on millions and billions of women around the world, and they're driven by religion. Now, actually what Susie says is right, is that if you look at these religions in any detail, they are not all compatible. It's absolutely impossible to sit there and go, well, I think we all believe in the same God, but of course you practice it in a way which means gender apartheid, which means homophobia, which means taking rights away from people, and it's not okay. When you look at all of these things and how incompatible they are, either there's one true God, or what we've seen is the same kind of delusions occurring in lots of different places, in lots of points around the world, and what we should do is accept that they are delusions and move on in a humanist way with progressive social values.
Right. All those great teachers, though. I won't ask you about L. Ron Hubbard, though. I think we probably wouldn't include him. Amina, Muslim Council of Britain, you converted from Christianity to Islam. Why do you believe Islam is right? Is it the true religion?
To me, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Right.
I was brought up as a Christian, loved the teachings of the Bible, but I'm also very much a pragmatist. I like to have things proved to me before I will follow them. So I was looking for the truth. And I had a friend who was Muslim, and she told me about the Koran. I was looking into the Koran, and there were lots of so many scientific facts in the Koran, which was written 1400 years ago by an illiterate guy in a desert. I couldn't deny that it was the truth. These were things that they wouldn't have known then. So that
A lot of stuff was written by
a
lot of that stuff was written before by Galen and people like that, the ancient Greeks. But he might not have heard that.
He wouldn't have known that anyway. So even if that was the case,
merchant routes maybe would have.
Even if that was the case,
Yeah.
there would be no way that he would have been able to have access to this. So many of the scientific facts in the Quran are only just being revealed now, sort of by modern science.
It says the world's flat, doesn't it, in the Quran, laid out like a carpet.
No, it says that the world is egg-shaped, which scientifically it is.
Well, they used to say, scholars used to say, when they thought the world was flat, that it says the world is flat.
Yeah,
and now so things change,
yeah,
don't they?
in the West, I think the Western scholars would say, yes, the world is flat, and if you go far enough, you're going to fall off the edge. I remember being taught that
What's the
sort.
clincher for you?
What's the
clincher?
for being a Muslim?
Yeah.
I can ask any question of Islam, and it will give me a logical and scientifically proven answer. But I think very much in this debate, the essence of faith is, I think personally that Islam is correct. Other people, of course, will debate that with me and disagree with me. And that's the beauty of religion, and that we must absolutely be tolerant of other religions or non-religions, because very much we talk about religion, we forget about people's beliefs in non-religion. So, for example, if someone's a capitalist or a
but
whatever,
beliefs have changed with science, and now most of the modern religions accept science. They accept evolution. They accept the science. They accept all those things because they've really got no choice, have they?
Absolutely, but I mean, if you look back at Darwin, for example, there was a massive clash between Darwin theories and the church
at the time.
Because
many church people got on board with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But what was happening, obviously, was because the Darwinistic theories were completely contradicting what the Bible was saying. People were being kind of forced into a camp. Okay, you either have to be one side or the other side. You can't be both. And people felt very divided.
That's not the case now, though, isn't it? Most of the churches do. So, Kate, do you want to come back here?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, this idea that something in the Quran is somehow proves and has been proven by science, I mean, firstly, it's just not true. There are verses that contradict other parts of the Quran. There are verses... It says in the Quran that you can't mix salt water with fresh water. I mean, you can disprove that in your home with a couple of glasses and a bowl. It's very straightforward to demonstrate that a lot of what is in the Quran is absolute nonsense. And the same, I must say, applies to every other religious text out there. You know, there just isn't one that makes any sense. And that's why the vast majority of people, you know, who study sciences and things like that are atheists like myself. And the fact is that when we look at the facts, now, there's a whole other question about what are people looking for when they go looking for religion, and what are they getting out of it.
Many of the great scientists of the world are also people of faith, you know, so it's absolutely compatible.
But there are very few who are actually followers of specific religious books, right? There are some who there are some out there. Some of
the great evolutionary biologists in the world are Christians, people like Ken Miller and people like that, you know.
But isn't that just an example of complete cognitive dissonance?
I've been wondering about this since you said the Quran was right about the shape of the Earth. But what sort of egg is shaped like the Earth?
What sort of egg? Well, the egg isn't precisely round, is it, scientifically? Scientists have realised that the Earth is
I've never seen an egg which is more or less
I've
never seen an egg which is more or less a globe, but just slightly flattened at either end.
Peter, Peter.
If you pick up a scientific journal from the 1840s or 1850s and read it, you know, you're going to find parts of it exceedingly humorous. to suggest that science, you know, science and the facts is the way that we need to go, that's what we need to hang on to completely, really negates the fact that this is something that's continually evolving and moving.
But this is not about science.
And that you and I have no right to the truth. We have a right to explore the truth.
You're absolutely misunderstanding what the scientific method is. The scientific method is not about going, I believe in science, and it was interesting that earlier we heard atheism being referred to as a belief. It's not. If somebody can
How can it be a belief?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If somebody can come and demonstrate to me that there is a God, then I'll absolutely be religious tomorrow. But the fact is, when you look at the proof and the facts, science is not about saying, I believe this because I want to believe this. Science is about saying, there's a method, we do an experiment, it's repeatable, we demonstrate something, and then we have a theory and a hypothesis, and then we prove it, and then we can keep going on and testing it, we look for new evidence. And what I think changes as I see proof and evidence for these things. It's not about belief.
You can't prove the existence of God.
No, that's my point.
The whole point about God is faith.
It doesn't exist.
Do you know what?
But exactly,
Over nearly 9 years of this programme, believe it or not, wait, believe it or not, we have debated whether God exists or not.
I know,
but
we haven't.
I want to take it back, if I may. I want to take it back, if I may, to the fact that they're all divine. All the people who've been sent were divines. Abraham, Adam, Jesus, Muhammad, Joshua, your good self
men,
this morning. It sounds good, doesn't it? All men, you say?
No, you just did a list. They were all men, weren't they?
No, shush, Peter. Shush, Peter. All men for Delma.
If I could come in, actually, on this idea that...
Where are the women that have been sent?
Miriam?
Well, just let me just take a step back for a moment and this question about God. One of the understandings I have from a Baha'i perspective is that God is unknowable, but these sacred figures are sent into the world for us to actually look into their lives in a scientific and a rigorous way and see, do these teachings make sense and make me and the world better? That's a sanity check for religion, actually.
But
Does it make me better?
I think that's where Christianity is so different. Because to say that God is unknowable is to deny that Jesus Christ came to earth, the Son of God, to reveal himself to us. We can know God because Jesus Christ was God. And that I agree is an extraordinary claim.
God, yeah.
Jesus Christ was God. And he came not so that we could search him out.
Not according to Amina. Isa was not God, and Muhammad very plainly said, this is nonsense.
And that's why I'm saying that the difficulty of saying that all religions are the same. Okay. They can't all be right.
Peter, they can't all be right. Is it possible then to get rid of the ritual and the beliefs and the doctrines and the encumbrances and just say, forget all that stuff, that's all man-made, there is a one God and it's the same God, unless you maybe believe in lots of different gods, polytheism. Is it difficult to cut through all that stuff?
I think when we hang on to, when we are hanging on to dear life, to Christ or to Muhammad or to Bahubali, or indeed to the founder of the Baha'i faith, I think then we're in trouble of actually not being able to see behind us and around us. And I think that each human being has the capacity to experience what effectively is the great mystery of existence, the great mystery of love. And what I'm seeing currently around the planet is that the development of human consciousness, the development of building a world of peace is actually being held back by many of our ancient belief systems. I think what I'm interested in is saying, well, have we reached a point now where we have drunk from these cups as far as we can? And if we're going to have a World Interfaith Day, really what does that mean? For instance, has the time now come for all religions to renounce violence? Should that be on the table now?
I don't know who sent you. But a lot of people will like the cut of your jib. Thank you very much indeed for your contributions.